Hare Krishna. Okay, go ahead. Kishore, you can read. You have a mic for that? Is there a microphone here? Go ahead. Authoritative.
It was taught to Arjuna, a warrior, just before he was to engage in a
Fratricidal
battle. Out of sentiment.
You know what fratricidal means? Literally it means brother killing brother.
Out of sentiment, Arjuna was thinking, why should I fight against my own kinsmen?
Kinsmen means family members.
Yeah. The reluctance to fight was due to Arjuna's illusion, and just to eradicate the
Eradicate
illusion,
means to destroy it, to do without it, to
that illusion,
annul it.
Sri Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to him. One can imagine how little
One can just imagine.
One can just imagine how little time must have elapsed while the Bhagavad Gita was being spoken. All the warriors on both sides were poised to fight, so there was very little time indeed. At the utmost 1 hour. Within this 1 hour, the whole Bhagavad Gita was discussed, and Sri Krishna set forth the perfection of all yoga systems to his friend Arjuna. At the end of this great discourse, Arjuna set aside his misgivings and fought. However, within the discourse, when Arjuna heard the explanation of the meditational system of yoga, how to sit down, how to keep the body straight, how to keep the eyes half closed, and how to gaze at the tip of the nose without diverting one's attention, all these being conducted in a secluded place alone, he replied, "Oh Madhusudana, the system of yoga you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady." Bhagavad Gita 6.33. This is important. We must always remember that we're in the material circumstances, wherein at every moment our mind.
We are in a material circumstance.
In this material circumstance, wherein at every moment our mind is subject to agitation. Actually, we're not in a very comfortable situation. We are always thinking that by changing our situation, we will overcome our mental agitation. And we're always thinking that when we reach a certain point, all mental agitations will disappear. But it is the nature of the material world that we cannot be free from anxiety. A dilemma is that although we always try to make solution to our problems, this universe is so designed that these solutions never come.
Okay, so we encountered some words here like fratricidal. That means brother is killing brother. And we also saw the word authoritative. There's authority, there's authoritarian, there's authoritative. There's authorized. These are all different words, more or less meaning the same thing. Means that it's bona fide. It's widely accepted as an authority. So authoritative. A-U-T-H-O-R-I-T-A-T-I-V-E. A-U-T-H-O-R-I-T-A-T-I-V-E. Authoritative. So So A-U-T-H-O-R-I-T-A-T-I-V-E. So I have to look up how to divide that word up into syllables. I think it's A-U and then T-H. A-U dash T-H-O-R I T-A-T-I-V-E. Authoritative. So it's broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 syllables. Authoritative. And then the next word that is interesting is fratricidal. Fratricidal. Frat. Not fat, but frat. F-R-A-T. Frat. Fratri, R-I-C-I-D-A-L. Fratricidal. This means brother killing brother. Side is a Latin suffix meaning kill. Frat means brothers. So brothers are killing brothers. The Kurus and the Pandavas or Yadus are fighting and killing each other. And they're brothers. So that's two words, authoritative and fratricidal. And then the word eradicate. Eradicate. E-R-A-D. Erad. And then I. And then C-A-T-E. So it's eradicate. E-R-A-D-I-C-A-T-E. Eradicate. You know the word remarkable? So remarkable means that it's something miraculous, amazing. Don't leave the book on the ground. So remarkable, R-E-M-A-R-K-A-B-L-E. You know the word discourse, D-I-S-C-O-U-R-S-E. Okay, so that's next word, discourse, D-I-S-C-O-U-R-S-E. Discourse means like a speech, a talk that's being given. Eradicate, you're going to like rub it off the face of the world. Okay. discourse. And then
What does discourse mean?
discourse means a speech. But discourse means a speech between a speaker and an audience, and there can be back and forth discussion. Okay, so you know what the word inferior means, right? You don't have to write it out if you know. No? Yeah. Yes, it means someone is less important or has less authority. Is below the rank of other people. Inferior. You can have inferior intelligence, you can have inferior economic position, you can eat inferior food. So it means less. Okay. Let's take a quick look at these words. Do you know what misgivings means? Misgivings? Yes? No? No. Misgiving means something you feel sorry for. Something that you didn't do and you feel sorry about it. So here it says, Arjuna set aside his misgivings and fought. So Arjuna was feeling sorry for himself that he had to fight against his own family members, and he didn't see how he'd be happy because he'd have to kill his own family members. So that's something he was feeling sorry for, he was feeling guilty about. That's a misgiving, M-I-S-G-I-V-I-N-G. Okay, so now we just went over some vocabulary. Okay, do you know what the word pseudo means? P-S-E-A-D-O. Huh? Yes, false. P-S-E-U-D-O. Pseudo. You don't pronounce the P. You just pronounce the second letter, it's S. P-S-E-U-D-O. So it's on page 5 with P-S-E-U-D-O. P-S-E-U-D-O. And you know what a whim is? W-H-I-M. A whim. W-H-I-M? Write that down. A whim is a on-the-spot desire that you get. Like you're sitting here trying to learn English, and all of a sudden you have a whim, you have a desire to, oh, can I go to the bathroom? And you go down to the bathroom. Instead of going to the bathroom, you go to the kitchen and eat an orange. That's a whim. In other words, something, huh? Yes, it's a desire on the spur of the moment that takes you away from doing something responsibly. It's called a whim.
Is it like an onslaught delight?
Yeah, but it'll take you away from doing something that you're responsible to do. Usually it's distractive of more serious duty. It's a whim. Just like there's one person, he's waiting in line to go through customs and security check at the airport, and he saw that there was one camera, but it was just left there. And he looked around and no one was trying to claim it. So he figured someone just forgot it. So he picked up the camera and put it in his luggage. And then when he was leaving, the customs agents asked him to open up his bag, and he opened it up, and they saw the camera, and they said, "Is this your camera?" He said, "No." I said, "Where'd you get it from?" He said, "Well, I found it." I said, "Okay, just wait over here." So they had received an email that someone had lost a camera, and the description of the camera looked exactly like the camera that he had. So they arrested him for stealing. And then he had to go through a long process, and it cost him a lot of money, $10,000 or more, to not be convicted of theft. And then that's a felony accusation. So write the word felony down, F-E-L-O-N-Y. A felony is a serious crime for which you can go to jail. What? Huh? F-E-L-O-N-Y. So you can go to jail for a felony. So, but this person just had the whim, oh, somebody left the camera, nobody wants it, I'll take it. So when they arrested him, they said, "Why'd you take the camera? And why'd you steal the camera?" He said, "I didn't steal the camera." I said, "Then why'd you take it?" So I want to make sure no one else takes it. And then they said, "Well, what are you going to do with the key? What were you going to do?" I said, "I was going to try and return it to the person that belongs to him." They said, "Okay, you're under arrest." And they charged him with stealing. And it cost him a lot of money to not go to jail. So you see, that's a whim. He should have thought, wow, this camera must belong to someone. I shouldn't put it into my suitcase, so I'll just turn it into the security people. But he thought, let me put it in my bag. So that was a very, very dumb thing to do. He didn't think of the consequences. So when you act on a whim, you don't think of the consequences. You know what consequence? We just wrote that word down, didn't we? No? consequences. Yeah, I don't see that word here. Okay, so consequence is something that's the result of action that you've taken. It's a reaction. It's like karma. Okay, so now let's go over the words that we wrote down so far. What are they? Well, number one is authoritative, right? Okay, tell me what words you have written down. Again.
Authoritative.
Is that one of the words?
No. Authoritative, fratricidal,
Yeah.
misgivings, eradicate, remarkable, discourse, pseudo, whim, felony, and
Felony
consequence.
is a crime for which you can go to jail. And what was it after that?
Consequence.
What?
Consequence.
And whim, right? Did you write down whim? W-H-I-M?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, there's a phrase here. Oh no, we didn't get to that yet. Okay. It says being very frank and open. What does frank mean? F-R-A-N-K. Is that a name? Hey, Frankie. Yes. Yes, being very frank is you tell the truth bluntly, or directly. And what does sum and substance mean? Sum and substance. What's the sum? S-U-M.
Oh, the sum. It's the answer to the addition. Oh, not like that.
You have to write this down. It's sum means the total, the addition of different things. So the sum and substance, when you put those two words together, sum and substance means the essence, the actual meaning, the message. So it says, thus the sum and substance of the yoga system is to control the agitated mind. Okay. Okay. Huh? Yes? What? Sum and substance. So, sum and substance, when you put it together, it means the actual real meaning, the essential meaning. So here it says, thus the sum and substance of the yoga system is to control the agitated mind. So after you read something, this is the sum and sum means the addition of everything together, and substance means the real meaning. Right. So after reading about yoga, the sum and substance is one should control the mind by engaging it always in Krishna's service. Huh? Kind of like a summary, yeah. But more, it's the substance means the actual real meaning. Okay? Yeah. Well, yeah, but more than theme. Just like if you make a donut, a jelly donut, right? So you don't put any sugar in the donut part, but all the sugar's in the jelly part. So you could say the sum and substance of this donut is the jelly, because it's the part that's the tastiest.
Yeah. Oh, the main part.
Well, the part that really spoke to you, it wasn't the doughy donut. It was the jelly in the donut, right?
Yeah.
So the sum and substance of yoga is to control the mind and direct it toward Krishna. So that's the sum and substance of yoga. Okay. So in this, he's trying to show that there's a difference between gymnastic yoga and the yoga as Krishna is teaching it. That is, everything should be directed towards serving Krishna. Okay. And then we talked about pseudo, right? P-S-E-U-D-O. You got that word. It means false. Something false. And pseudo is always a compound word, like pseudo-rationalist, pseudo-communist, a pseudo-religionist, right? Means they look like something, but they're not the real thing. So pseudo means it.
How do you mean they're like a hypocrite?
Yeah, that could be like a hypocrite. He's a pseudo-honest guy because he's a hypocrite. Hypocrite means that he lies, and he says, do as I say, but don't do as I do. Well, that's nonsense. Right? Okay. So we covered a whole bunch of words. Okay, where do we stop? Now when we turn to Srimad Bhagavatam in the 12th canto, we find page 4. Who read last? Where did you stop? Where did you stop reading? What? Huh? Not being a cheater. Stop. Okay, go ahead, you read.
Not being a cheater, being very frank and open, Arjuna tells Krishna that the system
Frank means?
straightforward.
Yes. It's not the name of some guy named Frank. It has a small f. So it means it's a noun.
Arjuna tells Krishna that the system of yoga
Adjective. Go ahead.
he has described is not possible for him to execute. In speaking to Krishna, it is significant that Arjuna addresses him as Madhusudana, indicating that the Lord is the killer of the demon Madhu. It is notable that the God's name is innumerable.
No, it is notable that God's names are innumerable. Innumerable, you know what that means?
Infinity.
You can't count them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For he is often named according to his activities. Indeed, God has innumerable names because he has innumerable activities. We are only parts of God, and we cannot even remember how many activities we have engaged in form our childhood to the present. The eternal God is unlimited, and since his activities are also unlimited, he has unlimited names, of which Krishna is the chief. Of which Krishna is the chief. Then why?
So that means Krishna the person is the chief, or Krishna named. The name Krishna is
the chief. Yeah, name.
Okay, so what does it mean by is the chief? Is it like an Indian chief or what?
Like the main person.
Yes. Huh? Yeah, the most prominent. In a group, the most prominent person or...
The head.
Yes.
Then why is Arjuna addressing him as Madhusudana when being Krishna's friend he could address him directly as Krishna? The answer is that Arjuna considers his mind to be like a great demon, such as the demon Madhu. If it were possible for Krishna to kill the demon called the mind, then Arjuna would be able to attain the perfection of yoga. My mind is much stronger than this demon Madhu. Arjuna saying, please, if you could kill him, then it would be possible for me to execute this yoga system. Even the mind of a greater man like Arjuna is always agitated, as Arjuna says himself. I don't know how to read this verse.
Chanchalam himalak Krishna pramati balavadritam tasyaham nigraham manye vayur iva suduskaram.
The mind is restless, turbulent,
Obstinate.
obstinate and very strong. O Krishna, and the subdue. O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think is more difficult than controlling the wind.
Very good.
Bhagavad Gita 6.34. It
Can
is
you control the wind?
no. It is indeed a fact that the mind is always telling us to go here, go there, to do this, do that. It is always telling us which way to turn. Thus, the sum and substance of the yoga system is to control the agitated mind. In the medicinal yoga system, the mind is controlled by focusing on the spiritual soul, super soul that is the whole purpose of yoga.
Okay, whenever you see a period, a comma, a colon, a semicolon, or a dash, it means you pause slightly. If you just proceed quickly, you'll get mixed up in your words. So you read this. The sum and substance of the yoga system is to control the agitated mind. Pause. In the meditational yoga system, the mind is controlled by focusing it on the supersoul. Pause. That is the whole purpose of yoga. Pause. But Arjuna says that controlling the mind is more difficult than stopping the wind from blowing. One can imagine a man stretching out his arms to try to stop a hurricane. Are we to assume that Arjuna is simply not sufficiently engaged not sufficiently qualified to control his mind? Are we to assume that Arjuna is simply not sufficiently qualified to control his mind? The actual fact is that we cannot begin to understand the immense qualifications of Arjuna. So every time there's a period, a comma, a colon, a semicolon, a dash, you slightly pause. Don't just keep reading quickly. Yes.
Where would you
Put a comma.
or no, where would you draw like a semicolon?
Yeah. Okay, semicolons. Now, colons and semicolons, people mix them up. The best thing is don't use a semicolon. Just use a colon. The semicolon is a dot and a comma. Well, that's why I say don't use the semicolon. Just use the colon. You say, and there is a large number of words that requires special pronunciation. Colon, 2 dots. Onomatopoeia. So you write all these difficult words that are difficult to pronounce, right? So, and after each word there's a comma, and then at the end there's a period. If you get into semicolons have very specialized use, and sometimes you're not sure whether you should use the semicolon or the colon. And we'll get into that, but right now just use, whenever you have a list of things, just put colon, and then each word, after each word, comma, and at the end, 2 dots. Yeah, not the colon, the colon. It's spelled the same, by the way. Okay, go ahead.
But Arjuna says that controlling the mind is more difficult than stopping the wind from blowing. One can imagine a man stretching out his arms to try to stop a hurricane. We are to assume that Arjuna is... Are we to assume that Arjuna is simply not sufficiently qualified to control his mind? The actual fact is that we cannot begin to understand the immense qualifications of Arjuna. After all, he was a personal friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a highly elevated position and is one that cannot be at all attained by one without great qualification.
So when you say highly qualified, so there are different degrees of adjectives. Like, for example, you say qualified, relatively qualified, highly qualified, most qualified, superlatively qualified. So each one of those second words that are added to qualified qualifies. Qualifies means adds meaning to it. So if you say qualified, moderately qualified, highly qualified, so you have 3 degrees. Qualified means to have qualifications. And then you can say mostly qualified. That means they have qualifications. It's a little less than qualified, right? So mostly qualified, meaning they're missing some qualifications, but they have a lot of qualifications. But you say highly qualified, it means they have full qualifications for doing a job. Right? So you amplify the word with these type of adverbs. Highly is an adverb. It qualifies the word qualified. So it qualifies an adjective. Go ahead.
Arjuna was renowned as a great warrior and administrator. He was such an intelligent man that he could understand the Bhagavad Gita within 1 hour, whereas at the present moment, great scholars cannot even understand it in the course of a lifetime. Yet Arjuna was thinking that controlling the mind was simply not possible for him. Are we then to assume that what was possible for Arjuna is a more advanced age? Are we then to assume that what was possible for Arjuna in a more advanced age is possible for us in this degenerated age? We should not for one moment think that we are in Arjuna's category. We are 1,000 times inferior. Moreover, there is no record of Arjuna having executed the yoga systems at any time. Yet Arjuna was praised by Krishna as the only man worthy of understanding the Bhagavad Gita. What was Arjuna's great qualification? Sri Krishna says, "You are my devotee, you are my dear friend." Despite this qualification, Arjuna refused to execute the meditational yoga system described by Sri Krishna. What then are we to conclude? Are we to despair?
Okay, so he's asking a question. What then are we to conclude? Does that mean if Arjuna was highly qualified, right? But he's having trouble controlling his mind. And we're nowhere near Arjuna's qualification. So what are we to conclude? That if Arjuna can't control his mind, how can we control our mind? Right? That's what he's pointing to. And now these are called rhetorical questions. They're questions that you don't have the answer. The answer is self-evident. So then the next question is, are we to despair of the mind's ever being controlled? In other words, what does that mean? Are we to despair of the mind's ever being controlled? Yes. And Prabhupada's answer.
No, it can be controlled, and the process is Krishna consciousness. The mind must always be fixed on Krishna. Insofar as our mind is absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, we have attained the perfection of yoga. Now when we turn to Srimad Bhagavatam in the 12th canto, we can find Sukadev Goswami telling Maharaj Parikshit that in the golden age, the Satya Yuga, people lived for 100,000 years, and thus it was possible for such advanced being to execute the meditational system of yoga.
This
meditational system of yoga. But what was achieved in the Satya Yuga by this meditational process, and in the following Yuga, Treta Yuga, by offering of great sacrifices. In the next Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, by temple worship can be achieved at the present time Kali Yuga by simply chanting the names of the Lord, of the God. Hari Kirtana, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So from authoritative sources, we learn that the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, that is the embodiment of the perfection of yoga for this age. Today we have great difficulty living 50 or 60 years. A man may live at most 80.
At the utmost.
80 or 100 years. In addition, these brief years are always fraught. What does fraught mean?
Fraught, full of.
Oh, fraught with anxiety.
These are old English words, fraught. In fact, it's interesting to learn their history.
Fraught with anxiety, with the difficulties due to circumstances of war, pestilence, and feminine, and with so many other disturbances. We're also not very intelligent at the same time. We are unfortunate. These are the characteristics of people living in Kali Yuga, the present degraded age. So properly speaking, we can never attain success in the meditational yoga system described by Krishna. At the utmost, we can only gratify our personal whims by some adaptation for this system. Thus, people are paying money to attend some classes in gymnastic exercises and deep breathing, and they're happy if they think they can lengthen their lifetimes by a few years or enjoy better sex lives. But we must understand that this is not the actual yoga system. In this age, the meditational system cannot. That meditational system cannot be properly executed.
Okay, now what does that mean?
Executed means like.
Executed. It means you put someone on the gallows, hang them, execute them.
Oh, like.
Huh?
Dead, like eliminate.
So, in this context, what does it mean? Cannot be done. Right?
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yes. So he's saying, in this age, that meditational system, in other words, meditating silently, cannot be properly executed, cannot be properly done. Okay. Instead. Instead.
I'm just finding it. Oh, instead, all of the perfections of that system can be realized through Bhakti Yoga, the sublime process of Krishna consciousness, specifically Mantra Yoga, the glorifications of Sri Krishna. Although the chanting of Hare Krishna, through the chanting of Hare Krishna, that is recommended in the Vedic scriptures and has been introduced by great authorities like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Indeed, Bhagavad Gita proclaims that Mahatmas, the great souls, are always chanting the glories of the Lord. If one wants to be a Mahatma in terms of the Vedic literature, in terms of the Bhagavad Gita, and in terms of the great authorities, then one has to adopt the process of Krishna consciousness, beginning with the chanting of Hare Krishna. But if we're content with making a show of meditation by sitting very straight in a lotus position and going into trance like some sort of performer, then that is a difficult thing.
No, not difficult. That is a
different thing. That is a different thing. We should understand, however, that such show bottle performances.
What's a show bottle?
Like show off.
Yes. You put, it comes from, previously in the window of a pharmacy, they would put a bottle, but it didn't really contain the product. Therefore, it's called a show bottle. You just show it, but there's nothing really in it. It has a label on the bottle.
We should understand, however, that such show bottle performances have nothing to do with the actual perfection of yoga. The material disease cannot be cured by artificial medicine. We have to take the real cure straight from Krishna.
Okay. Well, again, there are a bunch of words. A show bottle and sum and substance we did. Pestilence. You know what pestilence means?
That's kind of
It's a pet, like a cat.
yeah, sometimes some sort of.
No, pestilence means a communicable disease. A disease of going from person to person. Pestilence is, something caused by pests. Huh? No. Vectors. No. Like mosquitoes causing malaria or yes, pestilence is some bad outbreak or some kind of disease. Write that down. P-E-S-T-I-L-E-N-C-E. P-E-S-T-I-L-E-N-C-E. Pestilence. P-E-S-T-I-L-A-N-C. Pestilence. P-E-S-T-I-L-E-N-C. Sublime. S-U-B-L-I-M-E. Yes? Sublime means that it's usually used in the sense that something is in what? Well, yeah, it usually connotes or it usually means that something is very good, but in a way that is extraordinary. That, like, sublime taste means it's very subtle, but you really appreciate it, and you don't notice it like something gross. It's something done with such good taste that you just feel good all about it. And it's done in a very classy way. So the sublime process of Krishna consciousness, that means that simply by chanting Hare Krishna, dancing in front of the deities, taking prasadam, listening to classes, you become Krishna conscious. You don't even notice it, because it's such a nice, happy process. So it's done in a way that you don't notice what is happening, but it's definitely acting. And then pseudo adaptation of this process. Pseudo means false, right? P-S-E-U-D-O. Okay. So Krishna is saying that so it's talking about a course of a lifetime. What is that? Course of a lifetime. Full lifetime, yes. Very good. You see, there are these different phrases like sum and substance, course of a lifetime, and there are nice ways of saying show bottle performances. A show bottle performance. So that's like yogis pretending to go into trance. That's a show bottle. It looks real, but it's not real. So write these phrases down. Show bottle performances, sum and substance, in the course of a lifetime. Highly elevated, it's another. Highly elevated position, it's another one. You got those phrases? And then pseudo adaptation of this system. A false acceptance of the system. Pseudo, P-S-E-U-D-O, and then dash adaptation. So what is Prabhupada doing? He's actually criticizing all the bogey yogis. All the people make a pseudo practicing pseudo systems of yoga that are not recommended by Krishna himself for this age. So what is the type of yoga that Krishna recommends in this age of Kali Yuga? Yes. Yes. Sankirtan Yagya. Okay. So you tell me what you have written down in your notes. Go ahead, you first. What did you write down? Speaking of mine.
I wrote down the vocabulary words, and I wrote about the show bottle performance.
Yes. Then? That's all? That's all?
Yeah.
Nothing else? You didn't write anything else down? No. All right. What did you write, Kishore? What did you write, Kishore?
I wrote the vocabulary words.
Which are?
And authoritative.
What? Authoritative, yes. Did you write authoritative?
Yeah.
You did? Why didn't you mention it?
I said the vocabulary
Words. I wrote all the vocabulary.
Okay. Read the list that you have. The whole list.
Fratricidal,
Yes.
authoritative, misgivings, eradicate, remarkable, discourse, pseudo, whim, felony, summon substance, pestilence,
What? Pestilence.
and show bottle performance.
Good. Okay. Did you write anything down that she missed? Huh?
What?
Did you write something down that she may have missed? No.
Oh, I wrote sublime.
What?
I wrote
Sublime. Did you miss sublime?
yeah.
Okay, so write it down. Anything else?
Well,
Okay.
and I also wrote that the sum and substance of yoga is to control the mind.
Very good. Anything you got, Sanskriti, that might have been missed?
No.
No? Okay.
Yeah,
Consequences. Huh?
Consequence.
Yeah. So you missed consequences? Okay, and then? Did you write anything that they missed? Course of a lifetime. Yes, write that down. We want to all have the same. Oh, there's another interesting one. Despair. D-E-S-P-A-I-R. D as in David, E-S-P-A-I-R. Anybody know what despair means? Are we to despair of the mind's ever being controlled? Eliminate? No. No. Okay, Sanskriti. Yes. Brood over. Despair means that you're very worried and upset. Yeah. Or worried or frustrated about something. Are we to despair of the mind's ever being controlled? So in other words, should we think, oh, I'll never be able to control my mind, and feel really very saddened by that? But this is, again, a rhetorical question. A question you don't have to answer. The answer is obvious. Are we to despair of the mind's ever being controlled? No. It can be controlled. And the process is Krishna consciousness. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay. Turbulent. T-U-R-B-U-L-E-N-T. Turbulent. Turbulent. Turbulent means troubled. Again, disturbed. And usually it's usually applicable to a river or an ocean when there's a lot of wind. So you see there are waves and the water is moving, and it's considered turbulent, it's troubled. And obstinate, you know what that obstinate means? Very good word, you should learn this word. And avoid ever being obstinate. Obstinate means you say no to everything and you refuse to cooperate. Someone asks you to say, oh, can you take the trash out? No. Would you like to do your homework? No. You have to do your homework. I don't care, I'm not going to do it. You know, so you're obstinate. You refuse to cooperate. And the example is the donkey that refuses to move. Right? So a donkey is considered obstinate sometimes. They refuse to move. So obstinate, obstinate. So therefore, these are words that are describing the mind. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. And to subdue it. Did we write down the word subdue? S-U-B-D-U-E. Subdue means to conquer it or control it. And to subdue it is more difficult than controlling the wind. Can you control the wind? He's saying to control the mind is more difficult than controlling the wind. See? And the goal of yoga is to control the mind and keep it focused on Krishna. So you see, it's not an easy thing to do. You can control yourself physically, yes. Subdue, S-U-B-D-U-E. To subdue the mind is extremely difficult. Subdue the body is simple. I can put a straitjacket on you. You know what a straitjacket is? They use that on crazy people so they don't hurt themselves. So it ties you up in such a way you can't move your arms and you can't move your legs, right? So if a person is hysterical, they'll subdue them they'll shoot them up with some drug, some sedative drug, and then they fit a straitjacket on them. So then when they wake up, they can't move. They can't hurt themselves or hurt anyone. So the mind is described as more difficult than controlling the wind. Now, we know we can't control the wind. So if the mind is described as being restless, turbulent, and obstinate, restless means it's always going from one thing to another. It can't concentrate. Turbulent means it's always disturbed and worried and frustrated. And obstinate means it never listens to instructions. It never does the right thing. It always refuses to cooperate. Like the donkey, you say, okay, go. And the donkey refuses to move. And you slap it, it still refuses to move. So donkeys are like that. Sometimes they'll refuse to move, no matter what you do. Cows are like that too. Okay, so restless, write that word down too. R-E-S-T-L-E-S-S. R-E-S-T-L-E-S-S. Restless. Means always fidgeting, always moving around, or your mind is always going from one thing to another. You can't control it. Turbulent means always disturbed. Obstinate means it refuses to cooperate. And sticks to one point. Just like there was once two men that had an argument. One man said, the best way to cut a rope is to cut it with scissors like this. And the other man said, no, that's nonsense. The best way to cut a rope is to get a knife and cut it like this. So they got into an argument. One person said knife, the other person said scissors. Well, the guy had said knife. He was stronger than the other person. So he beat him up and threw him into the river to drown. And as the man was drowning, the one that said scissors, he put his hand up like this and went like that. And then he drowned. So that's obstinate, right? I mean, rather than die, you could say, okay, I agree, it's a knife. And then, but no, he was like very obstinate, and even to the point of death, he's still going like this to say, there's a last message, scissors. See? So that is what obstinate is. You don't want to be obstinate. Huh? Okay, so we had a lot of vocabulary. Do we write down reluctance? R-E-L-U-C-T-A-N-C-E. R-E-L-U-C-T-A-N-C. Reluctance. R-E-L-U-C-T-A-N-C. Reluctance means very hesitant, not very enthusiastic to do something. So here it says, Arjuna's reluctance to fight was due to Arjuna's illusion. And just to eradicate that illusion, Sri Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to him. So reluctance means very hesitant, very not convinced that they should do something, so they do nothing. Okay, so that's a lot of words, right? And it's all from 1, 2, 3, 4. No, wait a minute. One, 2, 3 pages. Or it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5, a little, almost 6 pages. All right? So read this again and make sure you know how to use these words. And don't use semicolons. Were there any semicolons here? I didn't see any. Yeah, see, most people now, they're reluctant to use semicolons. They just use colon and commas and periods. But there are sometimes, some cases, rare cases, when you can use semicolons. What you don't want to do is use semicolons instead of colons. That would be a mistake. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, if you keep the book, it's $2. If you don't keep the book, then give it back to me. And don't give the money to me, put it in the box over there. All glories to Prabhupada. Hare